Hello everyone and welcome to episode 47 of RETRY. Today we're looking back at another one of my personal favorites, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, released by BioWare for the PC and original Xbox in 2003. Spoilers abound today, kiddies, so if you haven't played this game, stop listening, go play it. It's one of the best RPGs of all time, and I'm about to tell you why. I could talk about what makes this game special for hours, but I only have a few minutes, so we're going to get down to business quickly. First of all, what you see here is the character select screen. You basically got a soldier, which is your base fighter. You've got an explorer, who's kind of like the medium, almost fighter, almost rogue. And then basically you have the scoundrel, which is the quote-unquote rogue class, thief class. My favorite is the scout, because it's right in the middle, and by the end of the game you get immunity to criticals, and you get enough skills to get HK-47. And I'll explain later why that's so important. One of the things you're going to notice here is that Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is based on the D20 RPG system, which is essentially the third edition of Dungeons & Dragons. This is not BioWare's first dance with this RPG system. Before this, they had released Neverwinter Nights for the PC, and it used a very similar system. The similarities between Knights of the Old Republic and Neverwinter Nights don't end there either. BioWare took the Aurora graphics engine, which they had used for Neverwinter Nights, and created a new engine just for Knights of the Old Republic called the Odyssey engine. The reason why they developed this game for the Xbox and not the GameCube or PlayStation 2 was that the Xbox was closest to a PC console. This allowed BioWare to develop both the Xbox and PC versions without extending their development time. Even though BioWare's success originally came from games like Baldur's Gate for the PC, this was not their first foray into console gaming. A lot of people forget that BioWare had massive success on the Dreamcast and PlayStation 2 with the bizarre action game MDK2 Armageddon. But why is this game remembered so fondly? I will tell you, the single greatest reason why people view this game so highly is story. It's got glitches, it's got problems, it's got bad pathing at times, but the story was something epic, it has twists and turns, and it was something that you couldn't wait to find out what happens next. So don't think I'm going to get all mushy here and tell you it's the perfect game. It's not. But if you stick with me, you'll understand why it's so special.
Yeah?
In Knights of the Old Republic, you take the role of a Republic soldier that's trying to keep a Jedi named Bastila alive. You collect NPCs that travel with you and can join your team at any time. Pictured here is Mission, and the other guy I got running with me is Canderous, who's a Mandalorian. He's one of my favorites. The Sith are being led by a Dark Lord named Malak, who's trying to use a space station known as the Starforge to create ships to take over the galaxy. You and your companions travel from planet to planet, completing quests and finding star maps, which will eventually lead you to the Starforge space station for the final showdown. Now, as you'd expect with a BioWare game like Baldur's Gate, Neverwinter Nights, morality is somewhat ambiguous. You can go through the whole game being as good or as evil as you want to be, with one exception. This game has what I like to call the Fable effect, which is kind of unfair because I think this game came before Fable, but it goes like this. You are a total evil bastard throughout the entire game, but then there's one final question, and if you answer it good, then you get the good ending. And I think that's total horseshit. The idea that you could murder hundreds or even thousands of people, rob everyone, but then redeem yourself by only a single good act is a little cheesy, and definitely Knights of the Old Republic falls into that cliche. Remember how I mentioned little bugs and stuff? Pathing problems, nice. Make the decision early on whether or not you want to be good or evil in this game, and stick to it. Powers that are aligned with your current alignment are considerably cheaper, so in the end it makes you stronger. If you're being evil, you get better Dark Force powers. Periodically, the game will pause so you can queue up more actions for your team, and the combat takes place in both the real-time and the turn-based action, much like the Fallout series. When an enemy appears on screen, the game automatically pauses, and you can queue up actions for each individual character. So although you can only walk around controlling one character, when it comes to combat, you can actually control everyone in your party. Throughout the game, you can also switch freely in between your characters, so if you have one character that's particularly good with demolitions, you can use them to disarm mines and not have to rely on making your main character master of all skills. Speaking of skills, security sucks. It is never worth maxing security. Don't put any points into security. It's absolutely useless. You want to know why? Because you can use your weapons to bash open any container in the game. And unlike in the sequel, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, in this game, you don't destroy any of the box's contents if you just bash it open. So yeah, security, completely useless. Also, if you want to get the most out of your team, and get probably the most infamous party member of all time, HK-47, and get the most out of him, you gotta make sure that your repair skill on your main character is set to at least about a 16. Mix and matching your companions while you play is part of the strategy of the game. You can use two gunners like I'm doing here, or you can kind of load up your party with users of the Force. It doesn't matter. It's however you want to play, and you can beat the game pretty much either way. HK-47 is hands down my favorite companion. You buy him on Tatooine as basically being a translator droid, and he turns out to be an assassin droid with a hilarious personality. Get him early, you won't regret it, and talk to HK every single chance you get. Everything he says is pretty much just priceless. Once you see the arrow in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen in the character portrait, that means you've leveled up. One of the things that makes this game so great is you can customize your character however you like. Just like in the beginning of the game where I could set my own attributes, pick whatever feat I wanted, you can do the same thing with every single level up. You choose your own powers. You get to decide what strategies you want to employ. It just makes the game so much more fun. Looks like I've been pretty evil here.
Statement. HK-47 is ready to serve, Master. Query. Don't I? I was under the assumption that organic meatbags such as yourself enjoyed such forms of address. Retraction. Did I say that out loud? I apologize, Master. While you are a meatbag, I suppose I should not call you such. Explanation. It's just that you have all these squishy parts, Master, and all that water. How the constant sloshing doesn't drive you mad, I have no idea. Statement. Now do you understand the travails of my existence, Master? Surely it does not compare to your existence, but still. Commentary. As do I. It is our lot in life, I suppose, Master. Shall we find something to kill to cheer ourselves up?
I'm sorry, it's a complete robot crush. HK-47 is awesome. Alright though, but back to the game. In Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, there are various items that are named, and at the workbench, you can actually improve them. This creates some of the best guns, lightsabers, armor, and melee weapons in the entire game. Because you can add mods and then take them away, you're encouraged to try this out as much as you want. You can't really mess it up, you just need to experiment with it, and you'll eventually end up with some great items. There's also mini-games that are completely unrelated to the overall plot of the story. On most of the planets, you can race swoops, which are a type of futuristic racing bike that you have on your ship, the Ebon Hawk. There's also a collectible card game called Pazaak. As you see here, you can customize your deck before you play, you pick your wager, and then the point of Pazaak is to get as close to 20 without going over. If you're closer to 20 than your opponent, you win the round. If you win all 3 rounds, then you win the bet. The 4 cards you see in the bottom left there is my hand. I can play cards from my hand to get to 20 rather than taking a random card that could be anything between a 1 and a 10 off the top of the deck. So Pazaak is kind of a strategy version of blackjack. You don't want to get caught going over, but you have these cards in your hand that can affect what's out on the table. To be honest with you, Pazaak's kind of a neat distraction, but I can't spend a ton of time playing it because the computer can be such a luck sack sometimes. After you become a Jedi, which is only about 25% into the game, it becomes completely non-linear, giving you multiple planets that you can go to search for the star maps. You've got the Wookiee home planet of Kashyyyk, the water planet of Manaan, Tatooine, Dantooine. You can do them in any order. This game has so many different characters, and whenever you have a game of this magnitude, of course there's going to be some familiar names as far as voice actors go. Bill Lamar, the voice of Samurai Jack, does a bunch of voices in here, and even Ed Asner lends his voice talents as one of the Jedi Masters. Although this game includes a lot of the famous musical themes from the Star Wars movies, it also has its own great soundtrack made by award-winning Jeremy Soule. On his Wikipedia, Jeremy Soule is described as the John Williams of video game music, and considering his track record, I can definitely see why. He's done music for the Elder Scrolls series, the Guild Wars series, old school classics like Total Annihilation and Neverwinter Nights, Dungeon Siege. He's definitely been around. Each planet that you go to has its own look and feel. And I'll tell you, the settings of this game, they did such an amazing job. I would even say that a lot of them like this, it's just beautiful. I gotta give Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic some props here. When you go evil in this game, you go real evil. So evil, in fact, that you do one of the most heinous crimes I've ever seen in any RPG.
This isn't happening. It can't be happening.
The Twilight Girl mission won't side with you on the dark side, and she's just a kid that's 14 years old.
Stand aside and do nothing. You'll just have to kill me. But I don't think you will. I don't believe you've gone over to the dark side. Not totally. I don't think you'll kill me. Not if I don't attack you first.
And instead of killing her yourself, you can actually have her lifelong Wookiee friend do it for you.
Looks like you'll have to do your own dirty work, Revan. If you've got the guts.
You actually take over his weak mind and make him murder his best friend, who is a child. That's just crazy. If that's not dark side, I don't know what is.
Revan can't force you to do anything you don't want to. It's me, Big C. Mission.
Now you must.
One of the things that always cracks me up, because RPGs never take into account the possibility that you engineer a massive beatdown on their boss. Take old Bastila here, for example. She's talking a mighty big game here, but let's see what actually happens when I get control of my character and the fight starts. She didn't even hit me, and she's talking crap about how she's gonna defeat me? Priceless. This is Malik. He's the final boss, and I'll tell you, the first time I fought against him, I thought he was the hardest boss in RPG history. I'd beat him down, he'd regenerate himself, and he'd keep doing it over and over. And then I realized that all that text and story I skipped because I didn't feel like reading in the moment told me that I was supposed to liberate all these Jedis. Every time you beat him down, he runs over to one of these Jedis and absorbs their life to replenish his. So yeah, apparently reading is fundamental. It's also fundamental for kicking this boss's ass. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic was well received right when it came out. It won Xbox Game of the Year, PC Game of the Year, and overall Game of the Year. That's pretty impressive. If you want to track down this great game, I got kind of good news, bad news. First of all, if you want it on PC, it is available right now today on Steam for $9.99 and is well worth the price of admission. You can also grab a used copy for the Xbox in many secondhand stores, and it'll be a little bit more expensive, but overall it's still attainable. The PC version of the game has an extra location, Yavin, which doesn't exist in the Xbox version, but the truth is, it doesn't really add to the length of the game, it just adds some more powerful items. Now, if you want to still try to find the PC version in the box, you're going to pay $50 to $70 for it, just because there is a massive dedicated mod community for this game. And unfortunately, those mods don't work with the Steam version. For die-hard fans, it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but for people like me that just want to play it as it is, it's $10. Enjoy. What the hell here? Okay, I've totally glitched out this boss, he's stuck, and I'm screwed. I can't go any further, I can't win the game, and I can't die. Wonderful. Thanks for watching. For VideoGameSaga.com, this is Tony B, and I'm out. Retry? You know it.